he gets up here. So this is going to be our first time, Joe Lucan, we wanted to make sure that we included the campus. And so we are happy to say today we have Dr. Scott Kenner, and he is the department head of the Civil Engineering Department. And he is a athletic Hardrocker fan. We see him at all the events. And so we are happy to have him, and he's going to talk about his program and what's going on in civil engineering. So please welcome Dr. Scott Kenner.
Thank you. Go Rockers. So we're often dealing with who we are or how to say who we are, right? And we adopted this theme just this year. Big school education and opportunities in a small school environment, because we are a family. And in civil engineering, we are a family. And so we promote that. Few facts about civil engineering. 11% faster than the average. That's the job outlook. The jobs in civil engineering are, you just have to not talk to anybody so you don't get a job. They're huge. A lot of opportunity is out there, and very good salary. Our department in this ranking is second in the country. Second in the country. That's pretty cool. And then, what is civil engineering? I think we get a lot of young people, I want to build structures or bridges or something. But we are structural engineering, construction, environmental, transportation, geotechnical, and water resources. And undergraduates study and gain a breadth of that knowledge, and then at their senior level can focus their electives in one area or keep broad. And then there's always the accelerated masters, which you know is that one extra year, great for athletes. In fact, we've had a lot of athletes stay that extra year and get their masters. It's very, very popular. So who are we in a few statistics? This is our last year fully compiled. We have 243 undergraduates. 42 of those are scholar athletes. About 16-17% of our department is athletes. It's pretty cool to see. And what came to my mind as I put this together, I've been here 27 years, and we are different since going to Division II. It was 80+% from South Dakota when I started teaching here. Now it's like 40-some%. And the diversity we have in the classroom is really a joy to work with the students. So kudos to athletics for helping the school grow in that area. I really think it is a bonus and a big plus. We have 63 graduate students. We have a pretty big graduate program, which includes the construction engineering management, which is all online. Our job placement is 98%. We had 61 out of 62 graduates in the year before placed. You just can't get that last one to contact you back, you know. Average starting salary was $60,500 at our meet and greet. So we started a few years back kind of with some prodding from our professional advisory board and stuff. With the career fair, we do a special meet and greet with our CEE employers the night before so they can sit down and talk and spend a little time to get to know each other. And we had 49 employers there at our last year's one. Internship, 95% of the students. In fact, our last senior design survey showed that 95% have at least one, 75% have two, and 45% have 3 or more interns during their undergraduate program, which just shows the interest in our students from this school. We do some research into civil engineering. In fact, consistently, we are the second largest research expenditures in our department on campus of all the programs. And last year, we did $1.4 million in research expenditures. We survey our seniors at the end and just see what they have to say, pluses and minuses. But this is why we are a family and what the students like. We do a free coffee Friday. We kind of keep it to the civil department because it can get carried away a little bit. But the students love it. We get to know them. They get to know us. They feel like they can come in and ask us any kind of questions. Fantastic faculty. The faculty are available. Meet with the students. You just don't see that at a lot of schools. And companies come to us. So I think our department is really strong, and it's because of the students, and we really like to keep them as part of the team. And why that happened is Lois Arneson Minor, her and I have been here, I think she's got one more year than I do. She came maybe the year before I did. She advises all our sophomores, all our freshmen, and our transfers. She meets with them 2 to 3 times every semester, and she's on top of them. She tracks them. She works with them more than advising, but also in mentoring. We have one of the stronger mentoring programs led by my assistant, my right-hand person, Ellen Hafner, and this is the women's mentoring for wives, and we also have department mentors, and we do all kinds of activities. We try to integrate those students right away to make them feel comfortable. And of course, our ASC student chapter is one of the renowned ones in the region, if not the country, and they're always out to beat South Dakota school lines. And then we have Steel Bridge and Chi Epsilon, all very active. And Chi Epsilon actually puts on some mechanics course mentoring for the students, test preparation, and all that. They're kind of our honor group. And I think with that, it's back to Hardrocker Athletics.
Thank you, Dr. Kenner, for taking the time to come up and speak to us here. We will start it off with Coach Ryan in soccer now, followed up by cross country and then volleyball. I finish her out with football.
Good afternoon. So the weekend didn't necessarily go as we had planned. Obviously, we wanted to have two home wins under our belt coming out of the weekend. That wasn't the story. We were a little underprepared. If you remember from last week, I was dealing with some health stuff when I spoke to you guys, and that kind of carried on and got a little bit more severe than I would have liked to have had it go. So, in the grand scheme of things, my head wasn't necessarily in it, and I have to take responsibility for that for Friday's game because we did not play well, and I felt like from a leadership standpoint, if I started falling, our guys, they also fell. So they worked hard, just, we were under a ton of pressure against a good CSU Pueblo team. They came out ready to fight, and we were a little slow. We played on grass for the first time this season, and it really showed. We had some tired legs. Looked like we were carrying weights around with us. Also didn't help. We unfortunately got a red card 12 minutes in, which means that we played down a man for 78 minutes. And if you ever played down a man in any sport, it's tough to come back from, especially on a field that you're not necessarily familiar with, against a team that's pressing numbers really high. So we had to deal with that and try and overcome it. The first half did not play well, gave up 3 goals, and didn't record a shot on goal. So the majority of the possession that Pueblo had was in our half, and they were really firing shots on us and putting us under pressure. Second half, we got some momentum back. We came out, unfortunately gave up a goal in the first 5 minutes, but really bounced back well from that and started applying pressure ourselves, even being a man down. Went out, pushed numbers high, high pressed them when they had the ball, and really tried to get back in the game. It led to our one and only goal, by Brennan Lamoureux, and it's his first career goal for us. So at that point, we thought we were back into it. 4-1. We still had about 38 minutes left, and we were pushing hard and heavy and giving them everything we got. We were subbing frequently, getting fresh legs in. But at the end of the day, we ran out of steam and ended up falling 6-1 to a Pueblo team that hasn't necessarily been good years past, but they're one of those teams that seems like a sleeper team this year, that they could potentially be that last team that makes it into the playoffs. They're playing everyone really well. They're playing all the top teams to, they're losing games, but they're losing by 1 goal, and they're putting up 20-plus shots a game. So they're a tough team, and we weren't necessarily prepared for them. Going into Sunday's game, again, I took a lot of the blame for the loss on Friday, and I promised my guys that I'd be there for them no matter what. Health aside, I was going to come back in and do my job and hold the standards that I expect for myself and that hopefully they expect from me as well. So I went back to my daily routine of coming into this room before games, setting out all the jerseys nice, and making it feel as professional as possible for them. And yeah, Sunday was a good day for us. We played another good Adams State team who hasn't won this season, but again, they've been pushing every team. They've had multiple games going to overtime. They were a solid team all around. So we knew we had to go out and fight and play our best soccer that we could. And in my eyes, we definitely did that. Definitely better than Friday. Went out, we were dominant in possession, dominant in shots, dominant physically. Again, unfortunately, we got a red card in this game as well, so we were down a man for about 20 minutes in the second half. We did get scored on first. We fell asleep for a minute and got counterattacked, and they went up 1 goal on us, and the guys responded really well. 6 minutes later, we got a goal from George Martinez, who's, I believe, our leader in goals right now. Brad has the highlight. But it was a great individual effort. Beat their outside back, got fouled, ended up getting a penalty kick. So this is the goal that got us back in the game. Great penalty kick. George has been our set piece specialist. And it's funny, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, we haven't scored many goals. Or last year we only scored 1 goal off of set pieces. This year we've had 4 in this first half of the season. So definitely improving there. Definitely shows the work that those guys are putting in at the end of practices. So yeah, back to Adams State. We ended up tying 1-1. Went down a man at the end of the second half and had to fight through overtime down a man. And we really showed our heart and our determination to win that game. We had a lot of chances in overtime their goalkeeper made a great save. A shot that I would think that would go in probably 9 times out of 10, and somehow he must not have clipped his fingernails because it hit off something and just barely nicked off the post and stayed out of the goal. But we fought hard, and that's all I can ask for the guys, especially after a tough week and coming off last weekend where we didn't play our best on a Sunday, and then coming into a Friday where we also didn't play our best, to really come alive and play well as a group. So yeah, going forward, still working on consistency and improving our speed of play and how we press teams and our build up into our attack. So we'll work on that this week. We play MSU Denver down in Denver, 6:30 on Friday. Follow that up on Sunday at Colorado Christian University on Sunday at 2:30. So 2 games where we believe we can get a result and where we expect to get wins in each game. So yeah, that's it for me. I did bring 2 guys today. So I have Alex Croson, who's a redshirt freshman, and Phil Liano, who is a true freshman, and they'll talk to you.
Hello, my name's Alex Croson. I'm an outside back. I currently live in Brussels, Belgium, and I'm a mechanical engineer.
Hi, my name's Phil Liano. I'm a true freshman, like you said. I'm from Nederland, Texas. I play center midfield, and I'm hoping to obtain a degree in mechanical engineering in 4 years.
So I played since I was about 3 years old. The sport I played the longest.
Yeah, it's about the same for me, 3 years old.
Yeah. So my dad's military, and we've done a couple places. And I think like earlier on in his childhood, he was from close to Pierre, and so my mom was like looking at schools in South Dakota because that's where we have residency, and it's popped up. So it clicked all the boxes there. So and yeah. All right. So last year I came in and they had some pretty good players in my position, and so I redshirted obviously. And this year coming in, I was like, I want to be a starter. You know, I want to get good minutes, and you know, so far I've had some pretty good minutes. Started about half the game, and I don't know. I feel like the competition was really good, and we've had some injuries, so there's not as much competition anymore, but it's still up there, and I feel like we have a higher level of of players this year, you know. So it's good to get some new freshmen in, like Phil, who's been pretty dang good, you know. So I want to get him too cocky, but.
We play on 3. So we play at the field for 2 of our games this year. Fort Lewis has grass field. Region has one, but we're not playing only 2 this year. So very limited. It is. Depending on the competition, you may only get 3. And then once you come out, you can't go back in. So for college soccer, in the first half, they follow those rules where if you come out, you can't go back in, but you can sub as many people are on your bench into the game. In the second half, you get a re-entry. So a person can start on the field, come off, and then you can sub them back on one more time. But as soon as you pull them back off, they can't go back on. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
All right. Well, we took a small group down to Wayne, Nebraska last Friday. We left about 7 a.m. and raced at about 4:45 their time that afternoon. So it was a real quick trip for us. We took primarily freshmen and sophomores, and then one of our juniors who will come up and talk here in a minute, Andy Ferris, ran as well. He had a little bit of a rough race the first time out at the home meet, so we wanted to give him a chance to get his feet wet again and get on a little more positive footing. And they did a really good job. We knew going to this meet that it wasn't going to be a huge field. A lot of the teams went out to the GRIAC Invitational in Minneapolis this last weekend, and if they didn't go there, they're going to a meet, to one or 2 bigger meets this next weekend. But we felt like this was going to be the right size for us. We got some good news early on that Minnesota Moorhead was going to be there. They're ranked number 7 in the Central region. And so I thought that was really important for our freshmen and sophomores to get a chance to see what it's like to be a top 10 team in their respective region. They're in the Central region, and so this was a really good opportunity for us. We got out to Wayne, and the guys didn't believe me when I told them the course was going to have some hills to it and it was going to roll a little bit. If you've ever been past the golf course in Wayne, you know it's pretty much just up or down. But they went and did their warm-up. They came back. They were like, "Coach, this isn't going to be so bad." They got done with the race. They're like, "That second lap got me a little bit." But all said, they ran really, really well. We finished 2nd out of 6 teams. Moorhead got the win. but we had a couple of guys really close to him, and it looks pretty good overall. So the hard part in cross country is always trying to predict what you're going to do when you get on the same course as somebody else. And what makes it even harder is that we don't always have to run the same distance. And so Moorhead had only run a 6K, and the difference between a 6 and an 8K, if you're not familiar with metric, is about 1.25 miles, or as I tend to put it, about 6 minutes. 6 minutes is a long time in racing, and so when we saw Moorhead's results from their home course, I've been assured that their course is quite legitimate, but the times were extremely fast for that time of year. So we didn't really know what to do with those, but we just kind of made our game plan more about just trying to make sure that we managed the race and put a good race together. And the guys did a really good job with that this weekend. We saw Andy was our number one. Sam Elliott, who was our number one at Shattern, had an 8K PR. Our number three was Monte Cristo, and that was actually probably his best performance. We had several of our guys with by far their best performances of the season so far. So the bottom line for us is we're really excited with where we're at right now as we get ready to go into the Billings meet on October 11th. That meet should be a good test for us and a good chance to see on a flatter course what we can actually do. And that's really the key, because the RMAC loves its flat courses. They like to run fast times. If they could run cross country on the track, they would. But that's not how the sport is played. So it's really going to be kind of a fun one to get out and see what we can do and see if we can put some fast times down. That'll give us a lot better look, because we'll bring out our top guys for that meet as well. Give us a lot better look and an idea of where we're sitting at this point. But had some really good performances over the last few weeks in practice, and the only problem is that's practice. So we'll have to kind of see how things go. On the women's side, we're feeling good about it where we're at right now. But we didn't run any women this past weekend because we had been a little bit dinged up, and wanted to make sure that it's more important for you to run well because of the way that the rating systems work. It's more important for you to run well than to just get your meets in and tick boxes. So sometimes it's better to stay home than it is to go. And so we decided with the women's team that it was better this time to stay home. So that was kind of what we went with. I'm going to have Andy come up and talk with you guys a little bit.
Hey, how's it going? I want to preface and say Stephen and I are not actually wearing the same shirt. It might look like we are, but we are not. So my name is Andy Ferris. I'm originally from Lancaster, Ohio, which is, if you're familiar with Ohio at all, it's right beside Columbus, Ohio, which is dead smack in the center of the state. I'm a third-year student here. I'm a redshirt sophomore in cross country, and I will be a junior this year in track. Let's see, I'm a junior in civil and environmental engineering field, which is kind of ironic that, and I've been in civil engineering for the past 2 years, and I've had 2 internships with civil engineering. So what he's saying is definitely true. Is there any immediate questions? Yeah, go ahead.
How many hour drive was it down to Wayne?
Oh, it was about 7.
We took 7. It's about 6 1/4 on the road.
How in the world do you get out of a vehicle and run?
It's actually a big issue in running. Is that travel? You know, you'll see a lot in track and tracking across. We'll travel the day before just so we're not that stale. And that's something that I feel that the younger guys don't have a lot of experience with, but whether it be a good thing or a bad thing, I do have a lot of experience with it. A lot of it is when you get to the meet, you usually do a shakeout run, or you walk around the course a little bit just to kind of get loosened up. Personally, I do a little bit longer, after a long trip, just to make sure I'm completely loose before the race.
Do you have any personal goals for your?
Oh yeah. This year, we have a really good team this year in cross country. We haven't really shown all our cards yet, so to say. But we have a great team. We're looking for a national qualifier convention team at the region meet. And it's, I guess, one thing that I have on a lot of my teammates is I've provisionally qualified in track 3 times now. So I had the experience of being in that stage of the national qualification. I haven't technically gone to the national meet because track and field qualifications are a little weird. But I know what it takes, and looking at it is I know that we have to run 31 mid for 10K up and down average, and that's just what it takes. So just having that experience and knowing that, and making sure that the team knows that is, I guess that's part of our biggest goal is knowing what we have to do and how we have to get there.
Question for the coach. You pick and choose the meets that you want to go to, and how do you do that, and why, and the people that you actually take?
Yeah, so that's kind of one of the nice things in cross country versus other sports is that we do get to pick and choose where we go. A lot of the way that we pick and choose those meets is based on our national qualifying system. And so they look at a variety of factors, starting with who did you beat and who did you lose to. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to take all these times and courses that don't make any sense on their own and then compare them to each other and try to make sense of it to figure out who the top 32 teams are in the nation. And really, they don't have to figure out 32, they only have to figure out the last 8 teams into the national meet. And so what we always are trying to do is to make sure that we show well at the meets that we go to, and to make sure that we don't give up key losses, in particular to other regions. And so, for example, if we had gone to GRIAC, last year Minnesota Moorhead went and ran at GRIAC, and they finished, I think it was 10th at GRIAC, but they finished 4th in their region. And so by finishing 4th in their region, what happened is because a whole bunch of teams from our region and from the West region beat them at GRIAC, it shut their entire region out for those at-large spots. And so you kind of have to think not just about yourself, but about the region as a whole, to make sure that you choose meets that you're going to do well at, and at the same time, you're picking and choosing your runners because you want to make sure that your best guys are well rested and ready to go when those meets that really count, like the conference and the region meet, come up. And so we kind of have to pick and choose. There's also a little bit of gamesmanship that goes on in that you don't necessarily want to show all your cards too early if you feel like you have a good team, because somebody could change their schedule to come race you to try and beat you. And again, you're protecting yourself from those losses while taking the chance of saying, we're a team that we believe can get to that next level. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. So, we had a fantastic weekend for the most part. I want to thank all or any of you who were at our matches this weekend. We continue to fill the stands. This is probably one of the first year in a few years that we've put down both bleacher sides in our gym, and we continue to fill both of them with community members, alumni, you, teams, coaches, middle school teams, high school teams. So as far as like the progress of our program, that's a part of it. The fact that we're filling the stands, people want to watch us play, people feel a connection to our team. To me, that's a huge step in our direction. And our women are actually very proud of that as well. We talked about that a little bit in our reflection in our loss to Puebla was, being grateful for this experience, enjoying the process because people do believe in us. People do want to be a part of our program and support us. And our seniors are like, yeah, we've never played in the gym that full, especially on a Saturday. That football's playing. So we feel really proud about that. So thank you for supporting us and continuing to support us. It feels really good. And our our women really enjoy it. As far as this weekend went, we played a really good match against New Mexico Highlands. They haven't won a lot of games this year, so it was one of those matches that we needed to win in 3. That was the standard. We had to do it really quickly. We had a very good offensive match. We hit 250 in the match. The downside is we let them hit 230. So defensively, we got to do better, and we're getting better. But beating our MAC team at home in 3 sets makes us very happy. Karen Hazard had a career high performance against Highland. She had 21 kills, the most kills she's ever had in a match in her career. And you met Karen a few weeks ago, and for a kid that hasn't really done much in 3 years, for her to be where she's at right now is unbelievable. That kid is impressing me more and more every second. So yeah, all around great team effort, really proud of that win. Going into Pueblo, if you were there, we battled in the first set. We played really well, and then we were up 24-22 and let them score 4 points in a row, and we lost first set, which didn't really put a damper on too many things because we turned around and played one of the best sets we played in a long time. Really efficient, followed the game plan, we did what we needed to do. All around great team effort. We beat them 25-20, and then, I don't know. When things get tough and we have adversity, kind of the doubt and the fear, they creep into your brain, they take over your body, they take over your mind. And for a team that hasn't won, that still exists. So for a team that's trying to build and get better, those things that we're overcoming, that's a big part of it. How do we get doubt to go away? Because it exists, and every single one of our upperclassmen, as much as they've changed, as much as they've put into this program, it still is there. So getting all of us to figure out how to take that away will win. So lost in 4 sets, really disappointing. Absolutely should have beat that team. On the flip side, Karn had another match of 21 kills, so she tied her career high again, and she hit over 250 for both those games, which is just insane. Against Pueblo, that coach was screaming at his team for not defending number 16 the entire time. I don't think Karen realized that until we told her, but that's huge. For that team to be solely focusing on one kid, a kid that hasn't had it be about her ever, I mean, she's really done a fantastic job. So kind of reflecting on that, we got to do better. We need to get better. This whole season for our team has not been about what our record is. It's been about being top 8 in our MAC. So we are continuing to have a growth mindset. We're going to evolve. We're going to continue to beat these RMAC teams. We leave Thursday for Colorado. We go to UCCS on Friday, Colorado Mines on Saturday. UCCS, very beatable. I think we match up really well. If we do the things we need to do, we absolutely should win. Colorado Mines is, I think we match up pretty well to them, but they obviously are a very efficient team. They're hitting 270 on the season, and they are, I believe, second right now, maybe third. But anyone can win any single day. So we're looking forward to that travel. We're going to be eating lunch at one of our alumni's houses, Darla, who graduated last year. She's going to host us for lunch because she's doing big things in her computer software job. She bought a house, and now she's going to have us over. So pretty cool. Pretty cool that we get to share those past experiences. So we're going to watch some clips from this weekend. This is a lot of them are against Highlands. You'll see how efficient our offense was. Dana played a really solid match on Friday. She felt really confident. She was hitting the line consistently. That was hard. Anna Thomas with the big dig. We'll get to talk to her in a little bit here. Again, this is kind of the Karn show. She continues to impress everybody. One of the only blocks I think we have on March. We'll get there. Dana on the outside, hitting the ball as hard as you possibly can. If she could do it all the time, we'd be having a great day. This is now against Pueblo. JC had a lot of success in the slide, meaning she runs behind the center. I think every time she hit a slide, she got a kill. So followed the game plan. She did what we needed to do. It was really good. Another big dig. That was when Karin got triple blocked because they didn't stop her and she still got a kill. That always feels good. So all around, a lot of good things. It's up at this point, we're gonna put it all together. We're gonna make it all work. But our team is in the right headspace. We're moving forward, and that's all we gotta do is focus on the future. So I'm gonna have Anna come on up. Anna is a freshman. I'm gonna let her talk about herself, why she's here, and then we'll field some questions. Okay.
Hi, I'm Anna Thomas. I'm a freshman libero, and I'm from the Fort Worth area in Texas. And I majored in biology, and I chose biology because I had a really good AP bio teacher in high school, and he made me really like it, and so I got to explore in that field. And I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with my degree as far as career-wise, but I might go like pre-med or into genetics, and I'm also looking at the biomedical engineering aspect of that. And I chose mines because I really wanted to go to school where I could play volleyball and get a really good education, because that's something that I hold to a very high standard, and like everyone in my family does. And so we've just kind of grown up with that, and I think this is a really good fit for me.
Anna's never cold. She doesn't know either. So Anna is our freshman libero. She's the one that wears a different colored jersey, which means she plays in the back row all the time. I kind of talked a little bit about this last week. The RMAC is full of fantastic liberos. It's one position that the RMAC does really, really well right now. Anna was first in the conference last week for digs per set. Now she's third by 0.1. I'm sure she'll fix that very quickly. And like I said, climb her back way and be on top. But for a freshman and for the level she's playing at, it's super impressive. And we are very happy with what Anna's done for us and our team. Obviously, you can tell she's a very mature individual, and we're happy with her. Any questions for us?
What you were talking the percentages of hitting, so what's very, very good hitting, and then what's very, very good hitting percentage? Can you repeat your statement?
Yeah. Yeah, so our team goal, hitting percentage, we want to hit 220. That's our goal. It varies with position, so depending on what position you play, like an outside, Cara and Dana, they're going to have a lower hitting percentage based on the fact that they get set 80 times a match, whereas middles should be hitting 400, 500 because they get set 15 times a match. So they should have a higher success rate based on the position they play. Like I said, Cara Mines is hitting 270 on the season. That's unbelievable. That's insane. Baylor's number one in Division I volleyball right now. They're hitting 340, which is like, who does that? So, yeah, I mean, 250, 300, unbelievable. Fantastic. You're going to go to the national tournament and win a championship, ideally. But for us, being between 200, 230, we're going to win a lot of games. And obviously, as far as our opponent hitting percentage, we want them to be far below 200. Like New Mexico Highlands has been hitting 0.58 on the season, and we let them hit 260 or 230. So you can imagine that's not good. Anything else? Okay, awesome. Away this weekend. Next Tuesday we go to Black Hills, and then we're home. So expect to see you all there again. Thank you.
Good, Zach Tinker, political science major, Seattle, Washington. It's not a shock that there's so many athletes in civil engineering, man. What the juice that Dr. Kenner brought us today, baby. That was awesome. Okay, so that's not a surprise why so many men in our program choose civil. If you get a chance to be on campus and he gives you a little presentation, you might get yourself pretty excited about being an engineer. So thanks for doing that today. Thank everyone. Like Lauren said, I thought it was a great weekend at Hardrock Athletics. A number of people at the game. Certainly, I messed up the weather a little bit. I didn't intend for it to be quite as cool as it was, so that you guys could have come out and enjoyed it a little bit more weather-wise. But at the same time, a great event. We played some good football at times. Let's go ahead and get to the highlights, Brad. We'll just sort of, because I believe they're in somewhat chronological order. The wind was blowing good at the start of the game. We felt we needed to pin them down, which we were doing a good job defensively of making that happen. Here's Cole Peterson, our outstanding middle linebacker, and Gavin Chaddock both getting in on a sack here. And this was big early. We thought we could pin them down. We thought we could create some momentum offensively. Unfortunately, in the first half, although we got some momentum right here on our very first couple of plays of the game, we turned the ball over twice. One interception where we threw the ball with a lot of confidence and just inadvertently threw it to the other team, and one was a tip ball. And those were big drive killers. Then we get down there later in the half, as you see us doing some good things here. We were kind of down there in the first quarter. And then our field goal unit had our struggles on Saturday night, which is something that has been a total strong point for us. Here we are again attacking the quarterback. That's Cole Peterson again, number 41, outstanding linebacker. He's a sophomore out of Boulder, Colorado, and here he is again. It's kind of the Cole Peterson show. You'll not be surprised to learn he was our defensive player of the game, number 41. So really strong performance there. He's just really been very, very active, and here he almost gets the horse collar and then he takes his hands off. So he's a smart kid too. Here we are getting some pass game going. This is Joe Loopers. We got him over the middle of the field. We were trying to attack the middle of the field. We did it on some occasions. We missed it on some other occasions. This was a big play. Unfortunately, we had what we would say is just, some of our learning examples at quarterback. We made a mistake here later in this drive where we had to settle for a field goal. And so Ennis does a great job here. Tough conditions, a 40-yard field goal into a stiff breeze, this is what our field goal unit is capable of. That was a great kick to get us right back into it. And we're playing a pretty good first half of football here. Here's Cole Peterson again. Just really been one of the better linebackers in the conference. And at this point in the first half, we were still trying to stay in the football game, and we're playing pretty well. You see us again harassing the quarterback, and this play by Gavin Chaddock, man, it was just like Gladiator, Game of Thrones moment right there for him. I think this shot from the other end zone. Gavin was our pickaxe player of the game. You see the quarterback come out here, and he's going to give him the full hickory right there, all the way to the canvas. And then we came back and got a big one. We've been trying to create some momentum plays offensively. So this is the very next play. We brought Dom Jackson in, faked the reverse to Dominic, and then Colin Zur, our offensive player of the game, gets over the top of the defense. Coach Linhart has been trying to get those receivers to get tackled inside the 5 if they can, and he's continued to do a great job with that. That was sarcasm. We're actually trying to score here. We wouldn't mind scoring right here, but we were able to punch it in twice. We were able to punch it in against them on short runs. Ahmad Lewis had 2 touchdown runs on Saturday night. Our offensive line did some nice things, especially in the first half, punching the football into the end zone. We have to one thing I'm looking to do is not play the last few plays of the first half. The 4 games of this season have been miserable on the last play of the half for us. This is Colin Zur again over the top. Toby did a good job finding him. This is all the way in the fourth quarter. That was a big one for us, kept us in it. And then we were able to punch it in on the very, very next play with Ahmad again. So there were some good things there. But of course that made it 20-16, and then with 11:33 to play, we were feeling pretty good. We then had a major issue on the point after touchdown. Not only did we not score, but we flubbed it around, and they were able to take it back for 2 points. A very deflating play for us. So now we're down 6 instead of being a 3-point game, and we lost a lot of mojo. Lauren said it, we still have some of that. Man, is something bad about to happen? Concern in us a little bit, and that came out a little bit in that moment when we gave up that momentum. I mentioned the last play of the first half. Our first game of the season, we gave up a field goal on the last play of the half, big momentum play. Our second game of the season, we gave up a touchdown on the second to last play of the half. Our third game of the season, we gave up a Hail Mary touchdown. In our fourth game of the season, we lost our probably our best player to what looks like could be a season-ending deal for him, which is a shame. So, it's an unfortunate deal. It cost us some mojo going into the second half. We had a little bit of, it took us a little while. When you see one of your better guys go down, your players sometimes don't respond great to it because they're looking around like, well, now who's going to do all that stuff? And I didn't think we handled that great. In the third quarter, you saw it. We were pretty lethargic. And then we kind of got ourselves snapped out of it a little bit in the fourth quarter and played some better football and got into it. But credit to Dixie, they were a few plays better than us on Saturday night. The other players in the game, offensively, our service player of the week, Jeremy Reed, out of Fort Collins, Colorado. He's a good young player. He likes to hit stuff, and that's a good quality in football. Taryn Moltz was our defensive service player of the week. Taryn's a walk-on for us. He's from Rapid City, served in the military for several years, came back on the GI Bill, and now he's working with us. Nice, mature young man, and has done a nice job. Casey Knutson, our punter, had a fabulous night. He almost pinned him inside the one twice. He got him inside the one once, and barely hit the pylon. Didn't quite put enough spin on the other one. So I had a great night, and I already mentioned offensively Colin Zerb, defensively Cole Peterson, who had another fabulous game, and then our pickaxe player Gavin Chaddock, another freshman. So when you look at the players of the game, a freshman, a true freshman, a junior, a sophomore, and a redshirt freshman. So the future's bright that way in terms of the guys that are making plays. Saturday, good challenge. Colorado Pueblo comes to town. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff, so don't have quite as much time to get ready to go, so wake up earlier, okay? Get with Dr. Kenner if you need some juice to get going. So wake up a little bit earlier. I suggest a second pot of coffee. If I'm you, I just get 2 in before I get to the stadium, make sure I'm juiced up and ready to go, and should be a great day of football. Colorado Pueblo just defeated, they played their non-league game last week, so they're 3-1. They beat a school called Texas A&M Commerce. Commerce was ranked, I want to say, 9th in the country going into that game. Pueblo was able to beat them. So Colorado Pueblo, top 18 or so team in the country, good football team. They always have really good players. They look like a good football team when they walk in. They found the weight room. They know what they're doing that way. But we can play a good football game against them, and that's what we got to do. And our players have some confidence because last time they were here, we played them pretty even Steven, and they had a very good football team that year. So, we're excited to get them down on the field. And I think you saw it. Dixie's a good team, and they struggled with that environment on Saturday. You can see it especially through the first half. Certainly their playmakers got loose on us in the second half. But I thought in the first half, you could tell the environment bothered them. So whatever you can do to be disruptive, continue to do. I heard the horns honking pretty good on Saturday, which I like. So. What kind of questions do we have? Anybody have anything for the general pop? I do have a really exciting player that I'd like to bring up to visit with you here. So, but are there any big questions that you guys have? Perfect. Jacob, let's do this. Jacob Christ is a senior, redshirt senior receiver for us. I'll let him tell you his story. He's a gem. Jacob, take it away.
Yeah, so I'm Jacob Christ. I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado. It's my 5th year here. I actually just got back from co-ops. This is the first semester that I played football in a while. So it's been kind of an interesting transition from being in the workforce and now having to make plays on football field. So, any questions from you guys?
What was your internship?
I did a manufacturing engineering co-op for a company called Stepis in Dickinson, North Dakota. Like a small oil and gas company, and I worked on the manufacturing side of it. They made products like podcasts. So got a lot of hands-on work. Got to meet a lot of crazy people in North Dakota. It's cold, and I don't know how people live up there. Joel,
that was my question. Where you going?
Yeah, trust me, it hit negative 51 night, and that's when I knew it was just different breed. Anything else from anybody?
There's one back there.
So now you know where you don't want to go. Where do you want to go?
Being from Colorado, the climate's kind of similar to Rapid. It doesn't get as cold there, but I'm super into racing. It's kind of a southern sport, so hopefully I get to move down to a different part of the U.S. I'm open to live anywhere. So.
Anything else for Christo?
What kind of racing? I grew up kind of big in MotoGP since I was a huge fan Rossi fan. But honestly, if it was getting the right amount of money.
Sweet. Thanks, Jake. Thanks.
All right, just a couple quick announcements. A big thank you to our sponsor today, Pancheros. I think it's a fan favorite. It's a big meal when you come in and get one of those burritos. Again, Zach said, kickoff is at 1 o'clock. Black Hills Energy is our sponsor this week, and it's Youth in Sports Day. So if you're 12 and under and you wear your jersey, You get in free to the football game, so if you know anybody with some youngsters that would like to come to the football game for free, just make sure they have their jersey on, and we'll welcome them on in. Lastly, next week, our coaches luncheon is at Arrowhead Country Club, the home of the Hardrocker Golf, and that will be at 11:30 on Tuesday, October 8th. So thanks so much for coming, everybody. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next week. It's a great day to be a Hardrocker.